Hey you guys, really quick. I always say really quick and then it ends up being longer than I expected to, so I'm a little reluctant to say that these days. Um, but I have something that's been on my mind, and someone else brought it up today, and I think that she's right. April Franks brought this up, and this was something that I was looking to talk to you guys about because I see it all the time, and it is so frustrating. I did it myself, and I'm in no way preaching from a soapbox to tell you what you should and shouldn't be doing, but to be totally clear about it. I used to ask people what their opinion was. Hey Betty, how are you? I used to ask people what their opinion was, and I would ask just anyone that would give me an ear. I would be like, oh, what do you think about this? Or what should I say here? Or how should I put this? And like, to be totally honest, not everyone cares. And it took me a while to really get this. It took me a while to really understand what does that actually mean and what does it look like. Well, it looks like when you tell somebody something and they don't really have a reaction. Or you may tell somebody that you had a win or something like that and they don't celebrate with you. Or you may tell somebody something and then they're like, oh, good. And then they celebrate with you for 5 minutes and they're back doing whatever it is that they were doing. That clearly means that that person doesn't really care as much about your victory. And it's just funny because I've seen this happen over and over again in my life where I'll tell somebody something and they won't be that excited about it. And then they'll come back and tell me something about that something that's happened in their life. And they're expecting me to have like this grandiose response like, oh my gosh. And I'm just like, okay. When I had my victory, you weren't celebrating with me, but now you want me to celebrate with you. And those are the type of people that you do not need in your life. That's toxic, okay? That's a one-sided relationship. That person, you tell that person something and you are looking for a response from them and you're looking for them to be supportive and lift you up and to really celebrate with you. And that person doesn't. And then that person comes back and they tell you something and are expecting that from you, but they didn't give that to you. That person you need to distance yourself from, and sometimes, in some cases, X them out altogether. Like, you don't need that, okay? Exit, goodbye. Like, because that type of energy is really, really, really toxic for you. And it discourages you. It makes you feel like you're not really worth much. It makes you feel like, you know, the work that you're doing is not amazing. It makes you feel like, maybe I'm not cut out for this. And to be totally, no, that's not what that means. That just means that person is not the right person for you to tell and talk to about the things that you're doing because that person is not going to support you. Okay? Stop telling people who don't understand your dream and don't try to convince them to understand your dream. The ones that get it, and the ones that don't. Like, I used to be the person that I would go and I would tell people stuff and I would be like, well, this or that, or, you know, and I would try to explain it in different ways for them to get it. But to be totally honest, the people that resonate with you or the people that resonate with you, and they will find you. They will connect with you immediately. There is no like convincing them that you are amazing. There is no convincing them that what you have created is amazing. You are amazing. You are wonderful. You deserve it. Abundance is your birthright. Like, you don't have to ask someone permission to be abundant, and you don't have to ask someone permission to celebrate. Like, honestly, like, I've seen this time and time again where I've told something to someone and their reaction told me everything about that person. And sometimes it is a friend that you think is a friend. Sometimes it's a coworker. Sometimes it is a spouse. Sometimes it is your family, okay? Maybe a brother, sister, mom, dad, or whoever that you confide in, and that person does not have, they just don't have the capacity at the moment to really take that in because whatever, they might be going through some stuff, and so they might deflect whatever you say and just blow it off like it's a little thing when really it's not. And I have seen this time and time again with specific people in my life where I'll tell them something and then they don't have a reaction. And then I'm like, then after a while I started calling them out on it. And then they were like, no, oh, no. Like, I'm super happy for you. I'm so glad that you're like doing that. But if you got to remind someone and point out to them that they didn't have the reaction that you were expecting them to have, or they don't have, that response that you're expecting them to have or whatever, they really don't care, or they really just are not truly happy for you. And if that happens more than once, more than twice, more than 3 times, stop telling that person. Seriously, I'm telling you from the bottom of my heart, because I love you and because I know that you're an amazing, beautiful human being. Stop telling that person. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be your mother. Stop telling her. It could be your spouse. Stop telling them. It could be your best friend. Stop telling them. Because what's going to happen over time is when you tell that person and then you start feeling guilty about having something to celebrate. You start feeling bad because every time you talk to that person, you have amazing things to say. And that person's like, oh man, every time I talk to you, you always have something wonderful to say. Then they start making snide remarks like, oh, well, what can't you do? Or, stuff like that. Like you're wrong for being successful. You're wrong for having something to celebrate. And to be totally honest and transparent and upfront, I have been in those shoes. I have shared things with the wrong people and they have hurt me and I have allowed it. But I'm at the point in my life where I don't even allow that. If I start sensing that someone doesn't give a rip, or if I start sensing that someone just doesn't care and they're like not really happy for me, I'm not even going to share that with you, because I'm not. And then I've had it where I've stopped sharing things with a person and then they'll be like, why aren't you sharing things with me anymore? How come you don't tell me stuff anymore? Really? Like, why would you want to share something with someone that immediately shuts you down or is negative and is like, you'll tell them something? You could be like, you know what? It's a sunny day out and I'm going to walk 2 miles. And that person's going to be like, oh, well, you better bring your rain jacket just in case. And you're like, why are you so negative? And I'm telling you, there are people out there that are like that. So my advice to you, and this is coming from a space of love, my advice for you is to guard your heart. Don't tell everybody everything. Save some of those victories for yourself. Keep some of them to yourself. Keep some of your wins to yourself. Everybody don't need to know your business. You know what I'm saying? Keep some of those wins for yourself, because I have seen time and time again where someone didn't celebrate my wins and then they had some wins and they're looking at me like, oh, look. And they come to me and they're expecting me to like celebrate them. And I'm like, you weren't supportive of me. And now you want me to be supportive of you. Like, I feel like that's a one-sided relationship when someone always has something negative to say and can't let you be happy. But then when they have a moment of happiness, they expect that from you. Like, that's a toxic one-sided relationship and you got to let that go. Choose to let that go. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter if it's your boyfriend, girlfriend, your spouse, your mom, dad, whoever the case may be. Do not tell people who do not care. That's the first part of this. The second part of this is stop telling people what you're doing and then allowing them to give you advice about something that they are not qualified to give you advice on. Okay? I'm talking about when you start doing a project or when you start a new venture, or maybe you're building a startup, or maybe you're writing a book, or maybe you're creating something, and then you tell someone and they're like, well, are you sure you want to do it that way? I don't know. I mean, it seems like that doesn't seem like the right thing to do or whatever. And they are not qualified to give you that advice. They are not qualified to tell you to stop going in a certain direction. They're not qualified to tell you to invest in something. They're not qualified to tell you how to do something. And yet you are giving ear to what they're saying. And it is legit not the thing. That's not the advice. And a prime example. Years ago when I was writing my first book, I think it was my first and second book, I had this friend who was always, I used to conversate with her and I used to have conversations that were really wonderful and everything like that. And I used to chat with her, in passing, and we would spend time talking and whatnot. We didn't really like hang out like that. And I told her, hey, would you be interested in reading my book? It's not like amazing or anything like that. And I didn't say it wasn't amazing. I just said basically that the publisher had published my raw manuscript, and that there were some errors in there, but I wanted her to take a look at it. And so she did. Okay. I feel like there's a bug on me. You guys see a bug? I feel like there's something on my face. I really don't like spiders. And I'm always worried about spiders being on me. Anyway, so I had her read my book. And so I'm out in public, and I'm talking to her, and I was like, so how'd it go? What'd you think? And she literally starts tearing into me. She's like, oh man, it was like the worst. I couldn't believe how long it was. It seemed like it just would never end. And there were like all these errors. And like, the pictures didn't make any sense. I don't even know why the pictures were in there, because it didn't make any sense why the pictures were in there. And it just seemed like, there needs to be more character development. Like, characters weren't really that good and compelling and all this stuff. Now, mind you, it's a double whammy. We are in public, and she totally tears into me. Now, I'm feeling completely destroyed inside. Like, I'm feeling like, why did I even tell her anything? Why did I ever let her read my book? Why did I ever put myself in a situation? And I immediately start beating myself up, which is what happens when you tell people something and they're not qualified to give you advice or feedback on the subject. Some of you are taking your books and handing your baby over to somebody that isn't an editor. They're not, a proofreader. They're not someone who can coach you on that. And you're telling them, here's something that I would like for you to look at. And they are not qualified. This person that I told was not qualified at all. And I walked away from that situation feeling torn down. Like, it literally almost destroyed my writing career. I almost went to the point where I just wasn't even going to write anymore. I wasn't even going to publish not one single more book. Like, none. Zero. I was just going to tuck my head under the sand just like an ostrich and just hide myself, because I felt ashamed. I felt like totally broken down because I told the wrong person. I asked the wrong person. And here's something that I want you to know. When you ask the wrong person, and when that wrong person like totally says something to you and is like not the right person, hey Martine, you've got to be careful who you tell. They may not care about you. They may not care about what you're going through. They may not care about, they just may not care. Or they may not be the right person and qualified to tell you what to do. And after that happened, like, I went and I talked to one of my other friends who was also a writer. And he was like, oh, you told her? Why did you tell her? She's just a reader. She isn't a writer. She doesn't understand the process. And literally, when you write something, literally when you create something, or when you have a victory or you win at something, or it doesn't even matter what it is. It doesn't even have to be writing, but like when you experience like a win, when you experience a win and you tell someone that they're kind of like in their stink, in their rut, and they don't want to hear it, they could just completely destroy your confidence. They can completely destroy how you feel inside. And so protect and guard your heart. Don't tell people that don't care. And don't tell people that don't have your best interest at heart. Because I've told people things and they just like turned right back around and used it themselves, but they made it seem like it was a garbage idea, right? Like, there are people that will do that who will tear you down, and you just have to guard your heart, and you have to be really careful about who you allow in your space, what you allow in your space, because there's going to be people that hate on you. There's going to be people that hate on you. There's going to be people that lie on you. There's going to be people that steal from you. And to be totally honest, you have to guard your heart. I know this was a mouthful, and I know that some of you might be going through this right now. And what I would say to you is you can always pull yourself out of the situation by stop telling that person. Distance yourself from that person. That person might say, hey, how come you're not telling me anything? But continue not to tell them things, because to be totally clear about it, They are not going to change unless they want to, and you can't make them change. So don't even try to make them change. Just keep it to yourself. Tell someone else. I did a lot of journaling around this, and I started writing things down and telling my journal, because it was just like a way for me not to have to hear other people's feedback. Now, there is a difference between constructive criticism and criticism where it's just criticism. Okay, and knowing the difference between the two is extremely important, because I was at the point where, like, I was so sensitive about my writing, I wouldn't really allow people to give me feedback about it after that situation happened. And so you don't want to be so sensitive that you don't take criticism or coaching or something like that from someone who is qualified. So, number one, stop telling people who don't care. And number two, stop telling people who are not qualified to give you feedback. Just don't tell them. It's just that simple. Anyway, I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of something to think about, because as I have gone through my career in writing as well as in other things, I've just discovered that not everybody cares, and not everybody's qualified to give you feedback. Not everybody is the right person to be around to tell things to, because they're just not. Okay? So I hope that you take this bit of information and tuck it away and really apply it. Start applying it now so that you can avoid the heartache and the frustration and the pain of telling someone something you're super happy about only to have them squash you. Okay? Because I'm just usually pretty soft spoken about a lot of things, and it's really rare for you to like make me upset or whatever. It takes me a long time to get there, but when you push me to the point where I'm like, yeah, nah, see, I'm not fooling with you, well, that's a kind of a permanent thing. So I'm not saying I don't forgive, but I will not forget, and I will not forget what had happened to me then. And I've just learned to, take what people say with a grain of salt, and I don't take it to heart. Aside from all that, I am an expert in certain areas, and I think that because I've learned so much about people and about how people respond to things, I have learned to stay mum. For those of you that don't know what mum means, that means I shut my mouth about things. I just don't say anything about it. Okay? So that's it. That's all I have for you in regards to that. However, I wanted to let you guys know that I am going to be opening up an fast online training, okay? A flash online training, Message to Profits is what it's called. And I'm going to be showing you guys how to take your life story and your message and turn it into profits. And I will have a membership for this, okay? A membership for this. So if you would like to know more about the membership, you can PM me. But it's going to be a membership, and we're basically going to have monthly calls where you can ask me questions about your writing and about your business and marketing and a few other things. I'll let you know what the details are. But that is going to be a monthly call. And then also you'll have worksheets and downloadables that you can launch into and use for your business or whatever it is that you're doing as far as your book writing is concerned, or any marketing strategies and things like that. You'll also have recorded audio from me, as well as video access, okay? Access to the replays of any training that happens. And also we will be going over so many different things, but just know that this is going to be a stellar program for those of you that are writing and looking to turn your message into profits. I'll tell you a little bit more about it once I have it fleshed out, and I'll make a post about it. But for right now, that's just a heads up. It's going to be a membership program that I'm going to be offering, and you can take advantage of that. So little golden nuggets like this will actually be inserted into the membership area so that you can kind of get a little bit of nuggets of wisdom of what I've learned, just so far in my journey and how it can help you in your journey. Anywho, I think that's it for now. I don't think anyone said anything, so hopefully you guys have an amazing day, and I'm going to take off and get back to work. All right. Okay, bye.